Terumah, Chamishi. So in Chamishi, the Torah talks about the Shulchan. The Shulchan is one of the Kalim that was in the Mishkan. It was a table that had on its slots that allowed for 12 showbreads, breads that were baked every week to be placed, and they remained there throughout the week. They had a funny shape. They kind of looked sort of like a U shape almost. And they were placed in the Shulchan, and there was a nace that happened with the Shulchan. One of the miracles of the Shulchan was that the breads remained fresh throughout the week, and when they were replaced at the end of the week, the Kaihanim were able to eat the older breads that came off, and they were hot and warm and fresh as if they were just put in. The Shulchan, this table, was in the northern part of the Heichel, as opposed to the menorah, which we spoke about before, which was on the southern end. And Chazal learned from this a very interesting thing, because the Shulchan, which is bread, represents Parnasa, it represents Olam Hazeh, Gashmias, and the menorah, as we said, represents Torah. And the Gemara therefore says, Haroitza lahachkim, if you want to be smart, if you want to learn, you want to become a scholar, Yadrim, you go to the south. But Haroitza lehisasher, and if you want wealth, Yatspin, then you go to the north. And that's an interesting thing, because as we said, the north is the Shulchan and the south is the menorah. The Chavetz Chaim actually says a very interesting thing. He quotes a pasuk in Koheles. Koheles is talking about the sun going by the earth, and the way Koheles explains it, the sun goes around to the north and then comes back to the south. Exactly what that means, there's a lot of explanation. What does it mean that the sun goes to the north and comes back to the south, etc., etc. But the pasuk says, "Hailech el Doraim," it goes to the south, "V'seivev el Tzafain," and then it circles around to the north. Seivev, seivev, hailech haruach al sevivav shav haruach. Around and around goes that wind, and it goes around that again around. What does that pasuk mean? So the Chavetz Chaim explains that a person should go to the south. Why should you go to the south? Because haroitza lahachkim yadrim. A person who wants to learn Torah, wants to become smart and great in Torah, go to the south. But a person has to make a parnasa. So they go up to the north. Then you have to go to the north to get tzedakah, because it says haroitza l'sasher yatspin. However, the pasuk says you go to the south. When you go to the south, that's where you really want to be. But you swing by. You swing by the north. You don't make the north your raison d'etre. You don't make the north your reason to exist in the world. Your north is there to do what you need to do to survive in the world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to survive b'derech hateva. Therefore, we have to earn a parnasa. Therefore, we have to take care of our gashmias in this world in the proper way and in the proper amount. But you're soivev el tzafon. You go to the tzafon, and then you soivev back, and you come back to the Durham, which is the place where you really want to be. And that you see from other pasuk, because other psukim. Because the pasuk says, for example, Mar Rav Toiv Asher Tzafanta L'Reyecha. The greatness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has hidden away, but it's Lashon Tzafanta, which is Lashon Tzafain. That's for a person who gives tzedakah, who takes his money, uses it appropriately. He uses his money for what his necessities are, but he doesn't squander it away. He doesn't hide it away and save and save and save for something that's and spend his whole life just accumulating and accumulating and accumulating for the sake of accumulating. There's an interesting aside that I always like to quote. The Chavas Lebovics, which is one of the great svarim of all times. There was a Mussar Sefer written in the 900s in Saragossa, Spain, by Ibn Pakuda. It's one of the great svarim. If somebody wants to learn something about bitachon and emunah, that's the place to go to learn about it. Chavas Lebovics says that some people make accumulation of wealth their entire raison d'etre in life. And he says they work so hard and they work so hard that they die. And all of that they have accrued, all of that they have collected for their wife's second husband to enjoy. That's how he puts it. That's how a person should kind of look at it, that you have to know what you have to do for parnasa, which is important, but don't make that the ikar of your life. The ikar of your life has to be the Torah. And that's what the pasuk says, that if a person doesn't do that, the way the pasuk says in Eicha, mitzafan tipatach hara, the enemy that came and took over Klal Yisrael, the Romans, came from the north. Mitzafan tipatach hara, and that's what the Navi saw in the famous vision with the boiling pot that was boiling to the north. So again, what we see from the Shulchan is that while it's important, very important, to do what we need to do for earning our parnasa and taking care of our mishpachas, at the same time not to lose sight of the ikar of why we are in this world, and that's to do Torah and mitzvahs and to become close and do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants of us.